Have you ever noticed how your worst habits don't hit at 10 a.m., but rather 10 p.m.? And during the day, you can hold it all together, but then at night, it kind of feels like a different version of you takes the wheel. Well, there are real psychological and neurological reasons for your discipline collapsing at night. And none of them mean that you're weak. In this video, you'll learn why bad habits always show up in the evening, but also the 4-step framework you can employ to stop them before they derail you. My name's Dan. I coach guys who feel stuck or behind in life and help them get ahead by building real discipline and confidence. If you want help upgrading your daily routine or your habits, check out the free link below. So our bad habits don't show up just randomly. They show up when our mind is too tired to really fight back. Now, our willpower and self-control are largely viewed as things that are exhausted throughout the day, especially after a lot of physical and mental exertion. And psychologists call this concept ego depletion. Over the course of a normal day, making hundreds of micro decisions, dealing with work stress, regulating your emotions, constantly suppressing your impulses, that pool of self-control gets drained. And one of the biggest reasons why bad habits hit us at night is because of this. So in a classic 1998 study by the psychologist Roy Baumeister, he found that when participants in this experiment, when they had to resist eating a freshly baked cookie, they gave up way faster on a difficult puzzle following that. Their self-control literally dropped. And the takeaway is simple, actually. Decisions, stress, exertion, really, they drain your willpower. And by the time 9 or 10 p.m. rolls around, you've burned through most of your self-control for the day. So the cravings that were easy to tame and ignore at 10 a.m. suddenly feel impossible to resist at night. And the neuroscience backs this up too. At night, the prefrontal cortex, part of the brain that plays a key role in self-control, planning, and a higher level of decision-making, isn't firing as strongly. And when this part of the brain quiets down, you become more susceptible to cravings and shortcuts. And meanwhile, the brain's reward center, the limbic system, is becoming more reactive, which makes those bad habits, those impulses, easier and even more appealing to act on. And then there's the emotional side, that comes with evenings, rumination, boredom, social isolation. All these negative emotions push you towards coping behaviors. And now harmless parts of our environment turn into cues to indulge. The couch becomes scrolling, the kitchen becomes snacking, the bedroom becomes watching porn, the TV becomes, I deserve another episode. And at that point, you're not fighting just one thing. You're fighting biological fatigue, mental fatigue, emotional fatigue, and environmental cues that are happening all at once, pushing you towards, indulging in these bad habits. And you might be thinking, well, fuck. If willpower drops throughout the day, how am I supposed to beat this? Well, thankfully, there are things that really anyone can do to stop this. And I put it together into a framework to help you curb most of those nighttime bad habits. So the first part of this framework, make the bad habits harder to do. This is just straight up architecting your environment, environmental design. Put your phone in another room. Keep the junk food on the top shelf, or better yet, don't buy it at all. And the whole point here is to make the bad things harder and the good things easier, so you don't have to rely on a fragile nighttime self-control, really. And when the friction goes up, the behavior goes down. And that's just simple behavioral economics. Second part of this framework, train your willpower through small, deliberate acts. My favorite example is not snacking while cooking. Everyone has the impulse to try and keep trying the food as they're making it. Well, by training ourselves to not do that, we can actually increase our willpower muscle, our self-control muscle. And this isn't just me saying that. Research shows that doing intentional self-control reps like this, whether it's resisting snacks, sticking to a workout plan, or managing your money more intentionally actually builds your willpower in other areas as well. So you're training the do what you do muscle basically in low stakes moments. So it shows up when it actually matters. Part three, get deeply connected to your future self. A doctor once asked my neighbor when he was going to stop smoking, to which my neighbor replied, sometime in the future, sometime at a later date. And then the doctor asked, okay, well, list out all the things you want to do from now, in 20 years from now. My neighbor said, oh, well, I would like to hike, fish, take my grandkids out, hopefully. And then the doctor looked at my neighbor and said, okay, all great things. Now imagine doing all of those things while carrying around an oxygen tank. Next day, my neighbor quit, hasn't looked back for 20 years since. Why did that happen? Well, because that's real shit. That's scary, right? But also because my neighbor got more emotionally connected to his future self. He didn't just think in abstract reasons like, oh, my health. He got connected to his future self. And we can use the same strategy. Fast forward the consequences of the bad habit. Make them vivid. Make them emotional. Don't think in just abstract terms. Picture exactly how your life would look if that bad habit persists. And, there's certain bad habits that we may not be entirely sure about. Big one for guys struggle with is porn. And here's one way to frame it. Imagine a future where you can't get turned on, you can't get hard with an actual partner because your reward system is so fucked up, it has adapted to constant artificial stimulation. And you may be wondering, well, that would never happen to me. Well, you know what? That's actually happening to a lot of guys right now, some of which I know, and it's awful. So get connected to your future self. It's not just something in the distant, it's you in X amount of time. Now, part four, use the replacement method. Never just try to stop a habit. Swap it for something better. For example, when 9 p.m. hits, instead of scrolling, stretch. Instead of scrolling, go make a cup of tea to get you ready to get ready for bed at 10 p.m. And a simple way of locking this in is with if then implementation. So if I catch myself doom scrolling past 9 p.m., then I will immediately stand up and stretch for 10 minutes or make that cup of tea. Another example, if I am tempted to binge another episode of Netflix, then I'll immediately stand up and go brush my teeth, signaling that I'm getting ready for bed. You build your own version so it fits your life. Final step, really a bonus tip actually, because this will be 5. Never tell yourself you can't have the bad habit. Humans, particularly Americans, we are extremely individualistic. Yes, individualistic. We like our autonomy. We fucking love it. So when you tell yourself you can't do something, it feels like someone is taking your freedom in a way, even if it's you telling yourself that. And this concept is called psychological reactance. So instead of telling yourself, I can't, instead tell yourself, I actually don't want to. I don't want to keep scrolling. I don't want to keep snacking. I don't want to watch porn. And then back it up with a valid reason that means something to you. Perhaps it's your future self that we talked about. This small shift protects your autonomy and can lower the craving as well. So nighttime isn't the enemy. It's just the moment when your systems are at their weakest. But once you understand what's happening, you can put these strategies in place, and the evenings can stop being the times where you lose control and start becoming the times where you take it back and actually don't regret it the next morning. And if you want help building discipline in your routine, in your habits, and really just upgrading them, check out the free link below. Till next time.